Hey, I'm Janet Varney. I play not the favorite character on Stand Against Evil, Evie Barrett, and you're listening to Pod Against Evil.
Hey, I'm Deborah Baker Jr., and I play Denise Miller, whose favorite character is Evie Barrett. And you're listening to Pod Against Evil. Yeah.
That yeah was the make or break moment.
So we're definitely going to have both of those intros on this episode just for it to make sense.
Yeah, they won't make sense otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
So they're definitely both going on here.
Yeah, okay. So we'll just do a plain one.
Did you want a clean one, guys? Do you want a real clean one?
How about we do
we'll do
one
clean.
without the passive-aggressive one?
It's still, I just want you to know, it's still going to be there, but I won't say the actual passive-aggressive words, but it will still be there. I don't want you to ever forget that it's in there.
The tone.
Yeah.
The tone can be passive-aggressive. Yeah, I'll forgive that.
Hey, it's Janet Varney. I play Sheriff Evie Barrett.
Hey, it's Deborah Baker Jr., and I play Denise Miller.
And you're listening to Pod Against Evil!
And welcome to Pod Against Evil. Oh my goodness, guys. It is episode 306 today, or should I say episode 30 bleh. It is the vampire episode.
Bleh, bleh.
But really, the important thing is that it's the Denise episode of
Way
the season,
more
guys.
important.
It is, yes. So
I was wondering actually what all the sparkles were for. Are they for Denise or for the vampires?
Look, when you get,
Oh, it's for Twilight, man.
like, if you get two characters together like that, if you mix vampires with Denise, you are going to have to expect a certain level of sparkle. Like, there's levels, man. But who's speaking of appropriate levels of sparkles? Why, it's me, Nick, the Merc with the Mic, and my fellow co-host to my left,
Travis.
the God of the Pod himself.
You do realize, again, that they have no concept of left and right on
I was like, well, relative left and right, like you're both in some kind of weird space, like
To my
Yeah, you can both be
podcast
like-
left. Here, for like a couple seconds, I'll put him in.
podcast left.
For a couple seconds, I'll put it into joint stereo, and Travis will be on the left side, and I'll be on the right.
Okay.
Like, there's like a podcast technical joke for you guys. Enjoy. Oh, also, who's nitpicking my podcast geography? That's Les on the horn. Les, say hi.
Hey!
And Les is also on my left.
Indeed.
Yes.
So, this is interesting.
Podcast left.
Due to a scheduling conflict, we're recording this one out of order. So we're recording this one before the Nubbins episode. But for what my talk with Molly Coffey when we during a interview I had for her, she mentioned that when she watched them in the orders, that she said that the order was flipped to the way that the way we're recording right now.
So we are
The vampire
technically
episode was
correct.
first, and then it was Nubbins. So I'm not sure what the difference is, considering they're both going to air on the same night anyway.
All right, and they're not plot heavy?
No, I mean, they almost have no running mythology in them whatsoever. So there are a couple moments where I feel like Denise and Kevin, like their relationship seems to have be in a different state than in Nubbins. But other than that, I think they're pretty interchangeable. So yeah, very interesting coincidence that a scheduling error had basically forced upon us. But yes, we are talking about the vampire episode today, Vampire Creek. I am very excited to be talking about this one. I believe I've stated maybe a couple times, maybe a couple dozen times on this podcast that my dream for Stand Against Evil is to have a Denise the Vampire Slayer episode. And guys, today is the day.
The closest we'll get to this point, at least.
So, without further ado, let us just begin. So we open.
This opening already has so much going on in it.
Well, okay, so we open on our special guest for this episode, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, McLovin himself, as a teen, air quotes, teen vampire.
Oh, yeah, like the 30-year-old teen vampire.
Yeah.
A vampire on a show that Evie and Deborah are watching.
He is Zach the vampire.
So, yeah, like they mentioned him as like he's Zach. I was like, Zach? Like, I'm wondering if that's like a reference to Saved by the Bell or something, of like Zach Morris, or
Or just or maybe just the worst vampire name that, like, there's just,
like,
it's got to be really difficult to make Zach come off cool, no matter how velvety your cape is.
Yeah.
Whatever sounds like not a vampire name, that's going to be the vampire name
Right.
for us. Right? And the vampire he's seducing, the woman he's seducing or biting is called Cheryl.
Zach and Cheryl.
Which just makes me think of Cheryl from Archer. Yeah. Like I can't help it. The dialogue here is over the top and cheesy in the best possible way. Kind of taking a shot at the Twilight movies.
It was also very Days of Our Lives.
Oh
kind of
yeah.
drama.
Very Days of Our Lives.
It felt real very dark shadows to me.
Yes, Dark Shadow's a heavy influence on Dana Gould. We talked to him previously. He mentioned that was one of his favorite shows. So there's a lot of stuff like that. And I have not watched Dark Shadows, and I have to imagine there's got to be a bunch of references in here that I'm probably gonna miss. So if you see any and then are chagrined that I left them out, be sure to hit us up on our Twitter or Facebook or something and just let me know. But yes, we cut away from Vampire Creek. Dana Gould's voice himself cuts to some sort of peach commercial. Like I can hear someone talking about peaches while the scene is going on. Like it seems to like this show is sponsored by peaches, which we'll dig into later. Of course, Deborah Baker Jr. and Janet Varney, who are going to be our special guests for this episode, guys, of a twofer this time around. They're both sitting on the couch, intently watching Vampire Creek.
I love that Evie is so intent that when she reaches for the popcorn bowl, she just entirely misses.
Yeah, Janet, man. So
watching Janet Varney work is absolutely a joy. Like all through this episode, she does some classic physical comedies, like little stuff throughout the scenes that just really help sell it.
Janet Varney has got to be the most talented. Like I think Dana Gould actually tweeted something earlier that I very much agree with. As much praise as Janet Varney gets, she is still underrated. Like, and I think I agree with that sentiment because just watching her work, the little choices that she makes during scenes, like what Travis was saying, the grabbing there. She's gonna do a thing later where she almost strokes herself while talking or something, and it's all just pitch perfect.
This episode is great because it just allows her just this chance to ham it up as Evie, and I love it.
And yeah, it's watching someone who has obviously had such great experience has honed their craft and is just like phenomenal. And to share the screen with Deborah Baker Jr., who I feel is a brilliant new voice that I feel should be heard on more stuff. I think Deborah Baker Jr., if I don't see her become a big thing in TV in the next 5 years, I think someone in Hollywood is fucking up.
Yeah.
Because I find her to be a delight in the way that,
she's just great at giving off lines. She really is.
Well, and she's she has a comedic voice that's so specific to her. Like that I don't feel like anyone could imitate. You know what I mean? Like, no one can do quite what Will Ferrell kind of does, or Dana Carvey or something. It's something very unique to her that I like. And they, of course, are interrupted by Stan, who is accuses of the show of being some asshole show. I think, like, hey, what are you watching? Some show about assholes?
Goddamn asshole show?
Yeah. It's like, no, we're watching Vampire Creek. It's a show about sexy teen vampires.
Do they live in a creek?
No, that's just what the show's called. And I love that.
That's the name of the town.
I love that he mentions like, oh no, you want a sexy vampire film? You got to get those Hammer films, man. Like, and then so who's the actress he mentions?
I did not catch the name.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I just watched that.
Yeah, I didn't have my notes here, but he starts going in about just blood and tits of like the Hammer films. Like, if you ever seen a Hammer film, he is not inaccurate in his description. And I love the judgmental looks that Denise and Evie both give him. Because like,
oh yeah, it's feels like one of the rare times where Stan is like, yeah, okay, I'm out.
Yeah, obviously I'm not speaking to the right crowd here.
Ingrid Pitt.
Okay. That was the
Vampire Lovers, Ingrid Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he apparently, what did he call, like, he was talking about her breasts, some sort of, like, milk jug?
Something milk jugs or milk bags.
Yeah, it was gross.
Usual Spanish.
Like,
Evie shuts him down of like, your daughter, also me, both sitting here.
And I love how they get so much grosser, like, in this conversation.
Zach's a shapeshifter. He can put his butt in the front.
Can he turn his butt into a wolf?
No. But his wiener becomes a tail.
Oh, Zach, you dirty dog.
And she, like, touches herself.
Yeah, she gets into it.
And the look on her face is like, and I really, like, I watched this scene a couple times and I was like, what is happening?
It's one of those few times where Denise says something just completely insane that you just kind of question with. But this is the one time when Evie's just like, she is full into it. And it's like,
I love this. I love that Evie is so into this show and that, like, that she's so into it that she's at Denise levels in love with it. Like, because normally Denise will say something nuts and then everyone will just kind of look at her and go like, okay, well, that's just something Denise says. But Evie is fully engaged with her on this. They are in sync on the Vampire Creek love. And, like I was saying, Janet Varney just doing some great physical, like the faces she makes are disturbing and hilarious. And it's just it's a really great scene.
But once again, we have a recurring theme in this season that Stan should just not open the door. Like, I've said this so many times now, Stan should just stop answering his doorbell.
I feel like one of these times something good will come through there.
I really don't.
But not today. Because who's at the door? Why, it's a mailman who seems to be having a real problem with his voice. Like, he sounds like he's been smoking 2 packs a day or something. Or he's obviously trying to disguise his voice, which I don't know why he would. Stan doesn't watch the show, so, like...
I couldn't tell you.
But, oh yes, it's Christopher Mintz-Plasse. Oh my goodness, it's Zach, the vampire. Man, I can't, just calling him Zach the vampire, I really can't take him seriously. Like, I know I'm going to have to call him Zach throughout the rest of this.
Well, I think that's kind of the point.
Like, but it's really...
There's absolutely no way I was going to take him seriously, no matter what his name was. Like, I mean, from the start, like, there's a what we do in the shadows, like, just... I can't take you seriously, you vampire fop. No.
So he delivers a package for Denise, which Stan takes in. Stan's not sure what it is. He theorizes it's something that Denise has bought from the TV and has forgotten about. He thinks it's one of those necklaces that beeps when you fall off the toilet, which causes him to go on a rant of, how do you even fall off a toilet anyway? Like, it's shaped like a seat.
Round and shaped like a seat. If Elvis had one of those, he'd still be alive.
And big as a house.
And he'd be big as a house. And he walks off, and obviously that rant continues.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Like, so I love that. It's just Stan very on brand in this episode. And it is not a necklace that beeps when you fall off the toilet. Why, it is Denise's grand prize win for her submission to the Vampire Creek /fiction competition.
Yes, not fan fiction.
/fiction.
Yep.
So,
and then she proceeds to explain /fic to Evie.
Yep. Indeed.
Which is basically, it's like your favorite show, but gay.
But gay, yeah. So for those of you unfamiliar,
like
Denise...
the Gilmore Girls, but now they're boys and they're gay.
That was my favorite one.
I was honestly, I was waiting for her to just say Wincest.
Yeah, right? Like, I totally thought that too. I'm so glad we were on the same page on that one.
That'd be a whole, like, that'd require a whole show to itself, let's be fair.
It really, like, it tickled
and
me.
She won for, is it Thad the Impaler?
I thought it was Chad. I heard Chad.
Yeah, it was Chad too.
I heard Chad. And when she says the name of it, Chad the Impaler, and it's a /fic, I'm like, oh, that doesn't mean what I think it means, does it?
Bacon means exactly what
we all paused and we just all thought about it like,
we knew what it meant. We were just letting it sit.
Well, on the bright side, I know my new porn name. Chad the Impaler.
But also, what's like the slash fiction thing?
I both want to, and we'll never Google this.
The slash fiction
safe search on.
Yeah, delete that browsing history. But no, the slash fiction thing doesn't actually surprise me that much with Denise. What worries me way more, she goes like, "It's my second favorite hobby," and then clams up. I'm like, "What's the first, Denise? What's the first?"
Yes, it's something that makes Denise like realize I shouldn't share this, which makes it doubly scary from whatever it was going to be.
That's so tantalizing. It's like that what's in the box in Crank. Like where, like, if you guys have ever seen, Crank 2, where he's trying to get this box and he sees something in it, and Crank 2 is such a ridiculous, violent movie, but yet what he sees in the box is like, I am shocked to my fucking core, and we never get to see what's inside it.
No, this is basically Denise carrying a bag saying, "Dead dove, don't eat." I'm just like, yep, don't want it.
I know it's early to state this, but man, Deborah Baker Jr. killing in this episode. We're like 5 minutes in, and she's already like the MVP of this episode.
But not the actual MVP.
Just fucking killing it. And we see outside the doorman reveals himself to be Zach, and he gives this great evil laugh. So then we get the opening, which is always great.
God, this is just the opening too.
We transition. I told you we're not even that far into the episode, man. I have so many notes, and I skipped over stuff. I had to skip over shit.
Got like 2 pages of notes here.
And it's a great episode, guys. And who should come in on every great Denise episode? Why, it's Kevin,
of course,
cleaning up a coffin, complaining about how man, you think they're slobs when they're alive, which seems.
Am I wrong? Was there a body in that coffin?
Yes, there is definitely a body in there.
And he's hosing this thing off like he dug it back up.
Yeah, he dug it back up, and he's hosing it down for some reason. I really have a lot of questions about this coffin here.
I did too, and I paused and thought, I've never worked at a cemetery. Maybe I really misunderstand Kevin's duties, but it seemed to speak to how fucked up weird this town is with monsters. That he was standing there with an open coffin with a rotted corpse in it, hosing the whole thing off clean. Anyway.
Well, I thought it has to have been from a previous episode of when they someone got resurrected or something, right? But no, I was remembering no one got resurrected from a casket in this season.
Look, dead people like to be clean too. Don't judge.
I kind of like the idea that for everything Stan and Evie and everybody else is dealing with, Kevin's day job has another 5 things any given day.
I feel like there's
like Cemetery Man style.
There's definitely a secret backstory here with Kevin that we need to really dig into this. That I know the show.
So what you're saying is we just need a sideshow that just has Leon and Kevin being buddy cops.
Oh boy, you joke, but I'd watch that.
I know you would.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Oh yeah, if 1 week I sat down and Stand Against Evil was preempted by just a complete one-off Leon and Kevin show with a different intro and shit, I would love that.
It's just a Bones spinoff. He's a slob of a cop. He's an eccentric cemetery worker. Together they solve crimes. But this is a great interaction between Kevin and Denise. Denise is very excited about her win, wants to celebrate with Kevin, which I feel is nice.
Yeah.
Which, it should be good for Kevin too, but he's like, "Ooh, I have class. Maybe we can celebrate another night." No, I want to celebrate tonight.
I'm sorry, Denise, I have a class.
A what?
Do you think all I want to do with my life is dig graves? I mean, I don't want to brag, but I always thought that if I applied myself that I could one day,
What?
dig swimming pools.
All that build-up just for digging.
And he's taking classes for this. I love it.
Right, and you're like, wait, are you taking one class singular for digging swimming pools?
How many classes does it take to learn?
It seems like multiple classes. She's like, you can miss one.
I don't want to disparage, people who dig swimming pools, but I'm sure
there's more to it than a hole in ground. I mean, Encino Man seemed complicated.
I'm sure there's like some sort of insulation or something to protect.
And you gotta make sure you're not digging into a pipe and all that.
I have not watched enough fast-forwarded YouTube videos to tell you how to make a swimming pool.
Sure. But, I feel like he could probably skip and get notes from someone at the class, right?
No, he's the only one in the class.
Nick, would you tell an astronaut to skip a class?
An assassin.
An assassin.
No, but...
For a moment, I just honestly thought he was just going to run through, like a loosely alphabetical set of names.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of professions.
Yeah, or one of those people that makes pandas made at the zoo.
They have very low.
They have a very low sex drive because they just eat bamboo.
That is an actual job, though. Like, that's a thing a zookeeper has to do.
I love that he, like, obviously Kevin was thinking about that before, like, today, and he was just thinking about that as an example, because he, like, even traps in the factoid.
Nick, do you not think about panda sex regularly?
No, I'm more into wombat sex, really. Like, that's what occupies most of my day.
Do you think
like,
platypus do they get poisoned by their own stingers? Do they have to worry about that? Because they're toxic.
My day is 75% marsupial sex thinking, and then another 25 on the podcast itself. Like that's where my brain space is at. I do not get a lot done. I don't get a lot done. Time to scrub my Google search history again. What were we
this
talking?
Explains a lot of our messenger chats, man.
I believe Denise gets angry about being a side piece.
Right.
Yes, and she doesn't know what side piece means, but they say it a lot on Vampire Creek, and it's clearly bad.
Which is impressive for Denise, because that means she actually gets context clues.
Yeah. Like, she doesn't know exactly what it is, but she knows that she can use it in this conversation.
Except that bringing it up makes her think of chicken, and now she's hungry.
And now I'm hungry. So...
so much going on in this episode.
This brings us to our next scene, in which seems to be a recurring segment, a rare but recurring segment for Stand Against Evil, the Stan Bisexuality Watch. Because I feel like Stan is working on a crossword puzzle, and he's trying to find, male sex symbol, 7 letters, first name Jack. And he goes, Jack Rascal, Klugman, and it's like, he didn't even have to, he doesn't come up with like a quip or anything like that. He's really thinking hard about it. Like, who do I think is sexy? And like, I'm not sure like who this famous Jack would be. I would think like, I don't know who's a famous sexy Jack. Who do we think the Jack is?
Not sure. On
7 letters.
I don't know. I was honestly trying to think of like celebrities named Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really am. I'm kind of stumped here.
The problem is that first thing that comes to mind is Jack Nicholson. I'm like, well, no.
Well,
no.
Well, back in the day, I mean, if this was an older crossword puzzle, but yeah, Denise comes in. She's very upset about the conversation she had with Kevin, to which Stan responds, prostate flare.
Prostate flare. Gotta go.
Prostate flare. Yep.
And, man, Stan really has no lack for, true, like, bombs to get out of, like, a smoke, like, conversational smoke bombs to get out of a situation of just, like, prostate flare, I'm out of here.
He had that at the ready to throw.
Indeed. And, of course, that will not keep Denise from talking to herself, for sure.
Never.
I love this. She starts to talk to herself, and then the mirror starts to whisper, Denise. But the mirror can't get a word in edgewise.
No, especially when she starts talking about sexy shows like One Arm Chef, because her boyfriend wouldn't be digging ditches if he had one arm, and
she is spiraling down the Denise logical here. Like this, and I love that. I really do love like the cursed object that's whispering to them, like of just like, "Hey, stop ignoring me! What
Pay
the fuck?"
attention to me.
Like, just a cute little joke. And then, what do you know? Denise gets sucked into the mirror. And when I saw the trailer for season 3, I thought this was going to be a mirror universe. And that's where the Namaste Chill Stan from Nubbins was
right.
Like, I thought that's what, like, oh, there's a chill, like, meditative Stan on the other in the mirror universe that's cooler. But that was obviously wild speculation on my part.
Nope. Instead, it's just a version of Vampire Creek, where Denise is the main character.
Well, she is met by Zach, who is very smitten with Denise, and really, who can blame him? I mean, everyone on this podcast, we love her.
It's true, we do love her.
There's
Except for Patience, because Patience is awful.
But in fairness, none of us can take her to Vampire Jr. prom.
Oh boy, that was such a depressingly funny line of just like, there's one night, Denise, there's one night of all the year that is most treasured against Nosferatu, and it is Vampire Creek Jr. prom.
But more importantly, not only can we not give her that, but we cannot give her cats dressed as munchkins, or vice versa.
Yeah. It's like, this is your dream world, it has everything you ever want, which of course Denise is like, cats dressed as munchkins. Okay.
I love when he like tells her that he wants to take her to prom. He's like, you have to become one of us.
I am not becoming a boy to go to prom.
Oh, a vampire. Can I still eat Pop-Tarts?
No Pop-Tarts.
This whole conversation
is eternity. Eternity with no Pop-Tarts. Can I think about it?
Yeah, can I... And I love her second question is, can I see my friends and family? And then she circles back to the Pop-Tart thing.
Pop-Tarts are more important, man.
Can I have a trial run?
Can I see what it's like to live in a Pop-Tart free world?
See if I can stand it.
Let's see.
Nick, you mock, but let's face it. When I bring Pop-Tarts back to the apartment, who's the one that eats them all?
You see, so the listeners don't know this, but...
You have a problem?
I have a problem when it comes to snack food. And I told Travis this when we first moved in together, of like, do not keep snack food around the house, because I'll just eat it. At 3 a.m. It's not that, and no matter how bad it is too, like I
bought watermelon Pop-Tarts.
And
awful.
I still ate them, even though they didn't taste bad, because I'm a monster. And it's not that I don't have self-respect. It's just that I don't have it all the time. Like, so when you catch me at 3 a.m. and I need, like, my sugar need is just killing me. And I will root into the cupboards, not unlike Kenny from the Werepony episode. I have not eaten flour. Like, that's... I've not stooped that low. But, so Pop-Tart, like, this Pop-Tart thing really hit me home here. It hit me where I lived.
Came and attacked him.
I felt very attacked. Oh man, where were we? Now I'm just thinking about Pop-Tarts.
I've gotten off topic.
He lets Denise go. Zach lets Denise go to, try and figure things out on her own.
Yeah, I believe he gets like really up in her face and just like backs up like, we cool? Totes?
Yeah, the only way to escape this world is through death.
We cool?
Yeah, totes.
I love that totes is now a regular thing in this episode, like in this season. Seems to be in everyone's regular vernacular. So we cut to Stan in the in the real world. Mm-hmm. He's checking up on Denise's room
at 4 a.m.
and Denise is gone. All right. 32 years old, and she thinks she can just stay out all night. Kids these days.
Oh boy. Like, we always knew Denise was, obviously older. Now we have like finally her canon age, and it's like, oh, this still raises so many questions.
Right. Like, so now we canonly know that Denise is 32, which was basically kind of our guess anyway.
Yeah.
But it was just like...
Well, and we know that Stan fully can't believe she doesn't drown in rainstorms. Like, Stan has no faith in her ability to live on her own.
And I honestly, I agree.
I mean, his faith, or his lack of faith, is not unfounded. And so who does he go to? Why, it's Kevin, because of course Kevin is the one dating his daughter. As far as Stan knows, like, you've been like dating my daughter for like a week, right? Like, this just started. Which
right.
Kevin doesn't really have a good answer for that.
Like, I don't really know what we are.
Well, since we're such good friends, Kevin, we're amigos, so I'll just straight up and ask you this. Did you murder my daughter? No. You buried her alive? No. And I just love he just keeps going with this and like is trying to trip up Kevin.
You drowned her?
No.
Did you do it? Winnipesaukee?
No.
Swam?
No.
Kagamanga?
No.
Guilty men would say no.
Then I did do it. No.
This is a great scene between just John C. McGinley and Dana Gould.
John C. McGinley killing
Wabbit
it.
season, duck season, wabbit season.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is very a Looney Tunes cartoon of like, and even it says like, I don't know what your game is, but I'm gonna play along because I'm global. And he does this thing with his hand, like draws a circle with his hands, does the like in between fingers and the eyes, and it's just like this like long awkward pause of just John C. McGinley. I think I've said this before. Is got to be one of the most physically talented actors I've ever seen. Like just the way he can move and like the way he draws the circle with his hands and then puts it right into like the finger thing with his eyes of like I just love it.
Yeah, he definitely directs the whole scene.
Yeah. And it's like and he walks off, but not before yelling at Kevin to stop crying, which of course Kevin has a great line of like, I'm not crying, you're crying. Zach is not faring much better, though. He may not be crying.
That's why his name's Zach, man, because every time you say it, I'm laughing.
Zach he needs to feed, and he's really on a timetable here with his urge.
But he can't actually feed from Denise because apparently he needs her consent.
Man, that's a thing that never really gets explained in this episode. But we'll get to that in a bit. So Denise feels kind of bad about, it's just a big commitment. Is there anything else I can do in the meantime? To which Christopher Mintz-Plasse does this great look away from the screen with the smolder zoom in that is so Days of Our Lives. So soap opera that it's just great. And then I love like Denise. It's just the look of Denise gets of just looking what are you looking at? What the fuck?
No, it's the exact opposite of the Office look into the camera thing.
Yeah. So we see we
Evie, pan back out to Evie and Stan.
Evie has arrived. She's worried about Denise as well. She's gotten the news that Denise is missing. And Stan, like, where she asked Stan, where was the last time, you saw her? I was like, oh, well, I saw her, sitting here with you watching your, show about, vampires that shave their chests for whatever reason. And she's like,
God, I love this so much.
Yeah, this scene right here encapsulates pretty much this, and their sparkling deaths later in the episode encapsulate everything that bugs me about Twilight.
Yeah, like, cause like, he's like, oh man, Sean Connery never shaved his chest. He's got like did you see his
got
chest?
A front like a baboon's back.
And I love Evie's response as like, well, they're hundreds of years old, but still want to date teenagers, so they kind of have to. And then she even like really like hears herself like how fucking creepy that sounds.
Well, that's creepy.
Wait, when you say it out loud, yeah.
But then Stan like stops away and like she just shows back. It's a show about feelings.
It's a show about feelings.
It's so dumb.
Well,
that always baffled me in Twilight. Of like, I don't care if you're that old and you still go to high school, there's something wrong. I mean, wrong with you. Well, like that's the monster.
If you're that old and you're still attracted to high schoolers,
that's what I was like. If you can still stand to be in high school, like if you're 1,000 years old and this is
that is also
all tolerable.
That is a big red flag too. You're 100 years old, but choose to willingly go to high school every day. What?
Well, the nice thing about high school girls is I get older and they stay the same age.
They're all.
I feel like there should have been a point in the Twilight books where people found out he was a vampire and went and you're voluntarily. We don't have to be we have to be in high school. Like we can't leave.
Yeah.
And like you're just here volunteer. It'd be like if everybody in prison, like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend style, found out you were just in there voluntarily because you wanted to be, like to learn a lesson. Like, no, we have to be in here. What the fuck are you doing in here?
But even if there's just some storyline like, well, I got turned into a vampire as a teenager, and it's really a pain in the ass to hide from society all the time, so I have to go to school.
Figure it out.
Yeah. I also love how, like, they're selective.
1,000 years to escape high school.
Right.
Do it.
I also love how they're selectively old school about stuff. You know, like the monogamy in Twilight of like, you know, that's just how we did things. Also, you know, you were alive when people owned slaves, but you're not like walking around in the day talking about like, I wonder why all these black people are running around all free and stuff. Like, you're real selective with the stuff.
But what you're baffled by, yeah. I'm just a caveman, frightened by your new. Yeah.
Like, but anyway, back to this show. We get a call from Kevin. Which I love. This is the new runner with Kevin here. It's like he's always telling people who he is and what he does. Mm-hmm. Like, hi, it's Kevin. I did graves at the cemetery. Yeah, I know who you are, Kevin. And I love like Kevin just seems to think that he leaves so little impact on people that they forget who he is.
I mean, to be fair, he has this whole backstory we still don't know about.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. Like, everybody always shuts him down of like, we don't care.
Mm-hmm. And you can kind of get with Stan. Stan might legitimately forget who he is.
Yeah.
Like, that seems to check out.
Yeah, but he does it with everyone, including later on Denise.
Yeah, which I find very funny.
That was great. Will be great.
And, of course, he's worried. He's checked all Denise's usual haunts, where she usually hangs out, which include abandoned car wash, a big pile of wigs behind a church, the False Teeth Museum, the funeral home that is only for circus people, which that was a weird one. The building with no windows where they make old people sew, which was a big
Very
red
alarming.
flag for me. Like, and then what was it like? There's the place where the homeless man that hangs, the old homeless man hangs out, but he's not actually homeless.
He just won't go in his house.
Won't go into his house. Like,
the funeral home for circus folks is the only one in the list that actually wasn't weird at all to me. I grew up about 30 minutes from something called Showman's Rest in Hugo, Oklahoma. Or I grew up about 30 minutes from Hugo, Oklahoma, where there's a funeral or a cemetery called Showman's Rest, where apparently it was a point that kind of touched several vaudeville circuits and like touring circuses, and so it's a lot of carny is a pejorative term. It's a lot of showmen and lion tamers, that kind of stuff, like clowns. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, all of the epitaphs and funerals and stuff. It's on Atlas Obscura. Showman's Rest is really fun.
That's fantastic.
It's as fun as a funeral can be, or a cemetery home can be.
I love that that's the touchstone of reality for this episode for you. Like,
yeah, no, like when they listed off all the weird stuff, I was like, well, that's the one that's not strange to me. Like the rest of these sound creepy. Like the pile of wigs sounds unapproachably creepy. But yeah, when you said that, I was like, actually, that's the totally normal one. I don't know about the funeral home, but I know they have a specific cemetery.
Well,
awesome.
Speaking of the homeless man that refuses to go into his house, we cut back to the Mirror Universe where they have gone to a bunch of homeless people, in which there's a homeless man with a sign that might be one of my favorite takes on a meme ever.
Yes.
Which is, "I'm homeless, change my mind."
That's how pervasive memes are getting nowadays, where they're actually just appearing in shows.
I like how either that's like the trendiest homeless man ever, or he like is a really aggressive, like just like really, you know, a passive aggressive of like he's committed to this homeless lifestyle and just wants to take you to task about it.
Well, I figured it directly tied to what Kevin said before about like, oh, this guy's not actually homeless. He just doesn't want to go in his home. Like this is the same guy somehow, just in a different universe.
Yeah. I also want to special mention for the magazines in this episode.
Yes.
Not only does sensual hobo come back,
like it does,
but also we have hobos reading sensual hobo. Mm-hmm. Like it's which is the first time I think we've seen that in this show. That this magazine is being read by what I'm assuming is its target demographic.
Its actual target market, yeah, its demographic. What are the ads in that?
I don't know. I mean,
also, let's remind ourselves that this is supposed to be Denise's like perfect world. So I mean, Sensual Hobo magazine exists in Denise's perfect world.
There's still homeless people in her perfect world.
Yeah,
right. Like, well, otherwise, how would she get the copies of Sensual Hobo?
Right. You wouldn't have that magazine without hobos. It wouldn't make any sense.
Oh, also, I forgot to mention, Evie got trapped in the mirror world.
Oh yeah, that happens.
It was during the list off of Denise's usual haunts. It was in between there, so yeah. Apparently, they are there to kill a homeless man for Zach so that he can eat. He can't kill it himself because something about getting kicked off of the yearbook.
Well, it would link him back to all the other murders, and then he kicked off the yearbook.
Oh, I gotcha. Classic high school problems.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Denise is committed on doing it.
Yeah, she's like, well, to be fair, she does think this is a dream.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I know this isn't real, but I'm still gonna murder this hobo for you. Like, all right.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at. I have the screenshot up of Sensual Hobo right now. It's a little fuzzy, but in the back it has a checklist with friends, check. Good times, check. Responsibility, unchecked. And there's something Trump of the Year here. Oh man, I wouldn't give to get my hands on a copy of some of these magazines. I'm so curious of just what they ended up putting in there. Because I know Molly Coffey said that she just put random articles in there to make Nate Moody or whoever read them just kind of freak them out. So I'm unbelievably fascinated by these fucking magazines. It might be the most I've ever been obsessed with a background.
Well, they're very consistent with it,
right? So yeah, she looks like she's ready to murder this homeless man with a hammer. Evie ends up stopping her. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm killing a homeless man with a hammer. What are you doing? Stopping you
from killing
from doing that insane thing. And it doesn't take long because, Zach has been waiting all this time for Denise's consent. But apparently that is not necessary with Evie because she gets chomped on something quick.
Mm-hmm.
She's barely in the mirror universe before she gets bit.
Well, he was very hungry, Nick.
I mean,
could you imagine going through a fast food restaurant and someone coming up to you and be like, "No, I'm sorry, sir, you can't have that fast food." Wouldn't you bite them? I'd bite them.
I mean, it was just so fast. I was like, "Oh, geez, all right, we're already here."
Well, and from here forward, this is kind of a running gag of this just vicious mid-sentence, bites.
Everyone gets taken out way faster than these. They're almost trying to get the best. They're almost trying to get the best time for being bit, it's an Olympic event.
And with 30 seconds on the clock, Sword goes too.
And guess what? I love this. As Evie's getting bit, we actually get an in-universe Peaches commercial.
Yeah.
From the Peaches thing again. So it came back around that the hobo that was about to get murdered just lifts up this Peaches can, and then the music starts to play. And then we cut to Deputy Drinkwater, who is reading a new magazine that we haven't seen before, which is called Pail and Buckets.
Pail and Bucket magazine.
Yep. That's
a thing.
That's just the thing that he reads. And I think he'd be lucky he laughs to himself buckets. What? Oh man, I have so many questions.
Oh man, I want to see the whole list from the door-to-door salesman that came around and got the subscriptions for all of these.
Yeah, but Stan gives him a call so that he can come help them out with, missing Denise and Evie. And, of course, he's like, I'll be right there. I really thought for a second he was going to say he was going to activate his action pants again.
He does kind of stop for a second.
I really thought that's what was coming. So I was a little disappointed that the action pants did not activate. But there's, there's always next episode. Here, we are going to transition to Evie's turning to a vampire, but while we do that, we're actually going to bring on Janet and Deborah to talk a little bit about that scene and some of the following scenes in particular. So, we will cut back. We'll get back with you right after this. And welcome back to Pod Against Evil. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to introduce to you our special guests for this week. That's right, I said guests. It's double your pleasure, double your fun this time. It is not only Janet Varney returning, but also the wonderful, our favorite character, Denise. It's Deborah Baker Jr. Hello. Say hi, guys.
Hi. Hello. That was a bold thing to say to two characters on the show to say that I'm the favorite. Yeah, he automatically makes Janet angry at you.
Yeah. No, I already burned off all my rage because they told me that before.
Janet, no offense or anything, but Denise is far and away our favorite. It's not anything you do. It's that we're millennials, so Denise is our spirit animal.
Oh wow! Okay, well.
We are not ready for it.
Janet, since you play an elderly character, because you yourself are elderly.
No,
what I'm saying,
we identify
Janet,
with the young, vibrant spirit.
Oh my god. She's gonna poison me, you guys. I'm in her home. She's gonna poison my tea. I'm not gonna make it out the door.
Well, I'm not gonna poison your tea.
So, Nick, would you like a shovel, or you want to keep digging on your own?
Yeah,
no, it's shovels up, not down. I'm gonna continue go with it. Screw you, that was good.
Now you made them sad.
I'm standing by it.
Way to go.
I'm standing by it.
Well, Janet's my favorite character on the show, so that's just the way it's going to go. We're going to battle it out, guys.
This is great.
Okay. Guys, this is the vampire episode. So I've shared this dream with Janet before that I asked her before I even saw the trailer for season 3 that my dream episode for Stand Against Evil was Denise the Vampire Slayer. Or failing that, a Mad Max universe where Denise was Mad Maxine. So this episode is a dream come true for me.
Fish, you get your wish. I mean, you should be really wishing for bigger things. If your powers are very strong, I feel like up the ante, buddy.
Look, when I got the genie and he asked me for wishes, I had a couple options. It was either, saving the world, and this was back in 2016, and I just thought, Hillary would do fine on her own. Like, she doesn't have to visit Wisconsin.
Wow.
So...
Oh, well.
I'm just saying I've made mistakes. Yeah. Sorry, the world.
But we got a Denise vampire episode.
But we got the Denise vampire episode. I feel like it works out.
Yeah.
Great.
I feel like...
everything in balance.
Did it check all your boxes when you watched it?
If by boxes you mean strangely a box I did not even know I had, which was butt front tail penises.
Yes, you're welcome for that. I did not think that was going to make it in the episode. That was just me being like, I'm going to say something weird now. I definitely didn't think Wiener was going to keep in the episode. Yeah. And it 100% did. Oh boy.
Well, to speak to Janet's credit on that one, I think what sells it is that not only do you say this crazy thing that I have, my mind has a hard time even picturing, but I love that, Janet, your response was to go, oh, Zach, you dirty dog, and do this thing with you, like you're rubbing your neck, like you're very into it.
Yeah.
And I just, the conversation is so crazy, and I love it.
Yeah, we improvised all of that.
Yeah.
Just that,
really?
that tag
yeah.
at the end.
I mean,
actually,
Janet and I have the best time in all of our scenes together on the show. I mean, it truly is a dream working with her. So, we get real weird. That's why I was very surprised that weird little segment.
I was surprised too. Surprised too.
Now that I know front butt and tail penises made the cut,
Wiener.
I'm wondering what
Wiener.
ended up on the floor.
Yeah, I don't
Wiener,
know. We
okay.
don't know because we improvise and then we don't remember what we improvised until we see it, and then we're like,
I see.
oh yeah,
Right, there's not a script to read off of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, at this point in the episode, for those following along, we are at Evie has just been bitten by our intimidating vampire named Zach.
Uh-huh.
Ugh, it's just Zach the vampire. And we've switched over to the scene where Evie has jumped out of the coffin, and I don't know if he dressed you in this creature of the night evening getup, or if that's just what you transform into when you turn into a vampire.
Yeah.
Either way, wah wah wee woo. What a babe. I mean, goodness gracious. As if Janet couldn't get even more sexy. She becomes a vampire. Thank you. Janet can say that for that.
Deborah, you took the words out of my mouth.
Great,
When I watched the episode, I did say out loud, Wii-U, Wii-U.
Yeah.
Wii-U, Wii-U.
Yeah.
It's just what I say when I'm aroused, I guess. I don't get a lot of action. But so I love this like quick move that you do to throw Zach up against the wall here.
Yeah.
And it made me
True Blood.
Yes, that's what I said.
It is very True Blood. That's a really good point.
Yeah, the True Bloods use that like speed up effect for vampire speed. And I love that there's like the vampires are a mix of almost all vampires.
Right,
like,
you're taking like all of them from pop culture.
From all eras, from every version of a vampire you've ever seen or heard of or thought of is probably in there.
Yeah, there's some Bela Lugosi in there mixed with some Twilight. There's some Barnabas Collins. It's all the good. It's all the greats.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, like, because I thought, man, Evie's gonna be such a badass vampire. Like, she's gonna be really effective as this creature of the night. Little do I know that everyone that turns into a vampire in this episode seems to conform to a different cliche of vampires.
Well, they turn into Vampire Creek vampires.
Well, no, because
that's right.
Stan will be turned later, and he kind of succumbs to his id. Like, he's more like 30 Days of Night vampire of like, oh, you know, I'm just all about sex and like, I'm going to hit on this lady and talk to her about the Harley that I want to take her out on and the sunset, which makes no sense. And Evie falls into like this interesting depression, which I thought was very funny.
Well, she's an emotional teenage girl vampire.
Yeah, I had a lot of angst.
Teens.
Yeah, so, you throw Christopher Mintz-Plasse up against the wall, call him Depeche Mode, which I thought was very nice. Great reference.
Improvised.
I love that Denise comes into this, and she is upset with Zach because, she doesn't want to... She's unsure about being a vampire. The Pop-Tart thing seems to be kind of a deal-breaker for her. So
I love snacks.
There's, I get it. They're important.
Especially breakfast snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No more brunch or Brinner. God forbid.
Yeah.
So I love that you and Janet have a moment here on the couch where Janet, you have this great physical thing of just like plopping yourself down on the couch in this like done with it kind of way that I really appreciate. Like, it reminds me of like when I'm like just too like I'm too tired for your bullshit right now. Although I've never been turned into a vampire, but I like that it speaks to me. And the conversation here is great because Denise tries to confide in you, but you're not having any of it. I think one of my favorite lines from you here is this. Oh, you have 2 boyfriends now? Boo hoo! And then you do this like hiss thing, which I love the hiss. Like, is that just something that was in the script, or you just thought, like, this feels like a hiss moment? I think I should hiss.
Who wanted me to hiss? I think it was Dana. It was either Rob or Dana. But it might have been in the script, actually.
I think it was.
Maybe it was in the script, yeah. But yeah, they definitely wanted to make sure we got that hiss in there.
There's multiple versions of the hiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like, when should we do the hiss? I feel like they spent a lot of time trying to figure out if I should say my line, then hiss, then say my line with a hiss somewhere in between. But they kind of broke up where the hiss took place on a couple of different takes. And then I think actually in the end I had to ADR it like anyway. So however it ended up.
Wow, I did not.
I think I do remember having to do some sort of something in ADR.
Oh, I have to say that's pretty good because I did not notice he was even an ADR line.
Yeah, we usually catch a lot of those because they're pretty
There's
funny.
so much ADR in this show. We have trains. There was a fire alarm during the entire vampire episode that was going off.
That's right. There was a fire alarm going off during the vampire episode.
It was there was lightning. I mean, it was just Atlanta.
Well, did you shoot in an actual high school? Because it does. Okay, because it does look like a high school gym.
Yeah, it
like
does.
the look of it feels very
that's
authentic.
Molly Coffee.
Of course.
Molly Coffee is
What
a dreamboat.
can't she do?
No, we shot everything in this weird old mansion that is a venue for weddings. basically the entire episode in the house.
Yeah. So the same place you saw the prom is the sort of reception hall area that we converted into the gym, and then all of the kind of gothic hallways and bedrooms are naturally occurring in that mansion.
Yeah,
That's convenient.
They're in their natural habitat.
And the hobos were in the parking lot.
The hobos were in the corner of the parking lot.
So it was really just our little studio for the day.
Yeah, it's much like many Stand Against Evil days that start to feel like student films, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, of the central hobo reader himself, Drinkwater is in a different scene we cut away to, trying to figure out the mirror, which I'm actually proud of Stan and Drinkwater in this scene, because they actually have a plan that is pretty, like, there's at least a couple steps to it. Like, it feels pretty proactive. Right. Feels pretty proactive on their part.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But, of course, it doesn't really work, because Drinkwater lets go of the rope he's supposed to be holding on to, which means Stan is also trapped in the mirror universe.
Yeah, it happens.
But we cut back to Evie drinking from the blood punch bowl in which is great. We get the correlation that when you're a new vampire, apparently it is a risky thing, because you can get kind of, for lack of a better term, blood drunk. Mm-hmm. So
yeah. I think that's a common theme in most vampire shows and movies.
Sure.
Like the baby vampires just don't understand their power. And
Right. That's a good point.
They drink too much. They get real crazy.
Yeah.
Usually doesn't come out of a punch bowl, though.
Kill a bunch of people. Yeah.
Right.
No, you're right. It's rare for it to come out of a high school punch bowl.
I love we get to hear Janet's catchphrase here. Actually, Evie's catchphrase of Hachi Machi.
And I'm wearing that shirt right now. It's a shirt that says Hachi Machi. I'm very proud of it.
But but it's a secret Hachi Machi because she's wearing overalls. Yeah. So I know what's under there, but no one else does.
Hidden Hachi Machi.
I like to feel like we all have a little Hachi Machi underneath.
We do.
All of us.
We absolutely do.
And apparently that was a line ad-libbed by you in a previous episode. So that was all your genius.
Dana loves Hachi Machi now.
Yeah. Everybody loves Hachi Machi now.
Hachi Machi has been put into some other scenes and then cut out.
Yes. I think after you did that line, I think almost all of us had a Hachi Machi line for the season.
Yeah. Tradition.
Everyone except for Nate, because Nate always ends up rapping before us. And so when we were on all these like text threads and Hachi Machi was coming, and he texted me separately. He's like, Deborah, I don't get the joke. I'm like, yes, you do.
Come on,
you
Hachi
get it.
Machi.
He's like, no,
it's just the
who
joke.
says it? And I was like, we all say it. He's like, no, I don't. And I was like, oh no, Nate got left out.
Man, there's nothing worse than being left out on an inside joke.
He's like,
on a sweet piece of inside joke like Hachi Machi. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
No, I mean, if you're not there for that, like...
I didn't know about that. That's really adorable.
So, Janet, I really have to give you your props here. This might be some of the best drunk acting I have ever seen.
Just very realistic in a sad kind of way.
Yeah.
I've always said that your physical comedy, like there's just the way that you can make something funny just by with a slight movement of the hand here or a tilt of the head. It's on full display in this scene.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It was really fun. It was definitely really fun to shoot.
You talk to a man named Bartholomew. Mentioned that his name sounds like fart, which is you do some drunk dancing. It's not as creepy as the horse head dancing from the season 1.
That's hard to beat creepy wise.
Like it's but it's pretty good. I like it. There's no the swim. You didn't do the swim, which I missed, but
I feel I probably did do the swim, but
she did
I mean,
so much.
I did a lot of bad dancing, so a lot of that is probably on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, and you also have a line here that I find a very funny, like very drunk people line. Like you look up into the rafters after Stan, because Stan tries to kind of get to up to speed on what's going on, and he doesn't last very long before he's bitten, which also has he has a great reaction too, because everyone else gets bitten. It's like, oh no, I've been bitten, and Stan's kind of like, he is immediately into it.
Well, he says ow, which immediately morphs into a yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, all right. Like Whatever the vampire thing is unlocking in him, he is digging it.
Well, I'm guessing he's going more for the Hammer films type of thing.
Oh, yeah, he mentioned it before. That's probably his thing.
But also, the beautiful, beautiful vampire who bites him is Cassidy, who is my stand-in on Stand Against Evil. It's her third season, being with us on set every day as my stand-in. And she's an actress, obviously, in her own right, and has done, and has really gotten into the stunt world as well. So she's done some stunts on the show. But this was her first foray into like full-on character mode on the show. And she just killed it and did such a great job. And she's absolutely adorable and wonderful. So it was really fun to see her get to kind of play and shine in that way. Cause she's always such a ray of sunshine every day that we shoot. So she just knocked it out of the park. We're so proud of her. Yeah,
one of those people that you're like, oh, she's too pretty to be nice.
Yeah, and then she's just the nicest. Yeah, she's so sweet. She's great. She's just great.
That's amazing.
I'm sorry, that just broke me. Deborah, why have we waited so long to have you on the show?
Oh, I don't know. Thank you.
I'm sure it was you guys not wanting to have her on the show, and you finally decided to let her come on the show.
Yeah, we finally broke down. I'm like, do we really want Deborah Baker Jr., our favorite character that we can't stop talking about on the show? Ugh.
That's right.
Guess.
Oh, goodness, guys, I'm going to have a big head when I leave here.
We'll have to get Janet on too. Oh, all right.
We're going to have to do Janet again.
I was just the gateway to getting Deborah on, but I'm comfortable with that.
Janet's a gateway drug.
Now, unfortunately, Janet, now that we have Denise on the line, we just have no more need of you. So that's just that's how it is.
Not true. So, Janet, come back.
Sound of putting microphone down.
But
that's okay.
We are just kidding. We love both you guys.
You don't have to. By the way, if anyone in any way is concerned that I actually have like negative feelings about Denise being your favorite character, please know that is 100% fiction. And I also love Denise, and I could not love Deborah Baker Jr. more. So
I love Jan.
Rock on with your adoration of Denise Miller.
Thanks, Janet.
Also, Janet, I love your final lines here that we're going to end on, because we get some great more drunk acting of you're staring up into the rafters after Stan gets bit, and you say something that I swear to God I feel like I've heard a stoner say, or like when he thinks he's saying something prophetic, but it's just nonsense. And what you say is, bats are just hang gliding mice, which
to be fair also sounds more like a Denise line.
But I love it too, because she's like,
actually that's a great Denise line. Yeah, that's a Dana idea on the day. We're trying to figure out what would be a fun, like, a thing that someone would notice as if they've had this giant revelation when they're drunk or to your point, stoned. And I think that was where we ended up with. I think that was Dana's idea. But it was really funny.
Yeah, I also love that the next response after that is, I better tell Fart. Like, I better go find Fart and tell him.
That, my friends, was me.
That felt like you.
It's a team effort. It's a team effort.
I better tell Fart. That's a classic Varney line. That's just, it's got it written all over it. And then you must have the best drunken puke scene I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Now, for this, did you shadow my girlfriend from 3 years ago to get this scene right? Because
I didn't. I actually didn't.
Because Janet, I swear to God, what you say here, I'm not even I'm only paraphrasing just a little bit. It's like word for word a exchange I had in a bar with a girl that I was dating. Like this exact scenario. Like she said the exact I'm okay. Don't be mad at me. Like she said, "Don't be mad at me" so much, and it was
those are real feelings.
Mm-hmm. So
real feelings that happen,
and it was
guys, alcohol. Woof.
It hit me where I lived. That one, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And of course, you can't even move from the ground later. Of just Just kill me. Just no. As long as it's not, don't move me in any way.
I get killed from the ground. Yeah. Yeah, how about that Denise just taking names? What?
Yes, taking those names.
That's not a
with the
killing vamps and taking names. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I've always heard it.
Confidence, Janet.
I'm here to take names and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of names, or some such saying.
That's right. That's right.
But yes, Denise gets her badass moment in the sun and kills the entire cast, which I kind of thought like, oh, well, there goes my series ending of one of my theories of how the show ultimately ends. It's like the series finale. So just Denise going to town on everybody after she turns evil, but I don't think they'll do it twice.
Okay, but to be fair, I was never evil, and I can still always go to town on everyone.
And take names. You can go to town and take down names.
So you can be evil.
I love how Deborah was like, just so we're clear, I am open to murdering all of my cast members. And just so we're clear.
Yeah.
I want it's on
the record
table.
show.
Yes. And let the record show that I've had an absolute blast talking with you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me.
Before we go, I'd love to just hear Deborah talk about Christmas Plus a little bit, because she's the reason that he did that episode, and we were all so excited to have him. So yeah, DBJ, why don't you give some background?
Oh,
yeah.
CMP, what a dreamboat. We worked together on The Great Indoors and became fast friends. We both love Boston sports because his dad is from Boston. So we decided, we have to become best friends now. And have gone to millions of games together, and we adore each other. And we're like, okay, we always have to find jobs for each other. So, yeah, of course. I was like, Dana, we have to have Chris. And he was like, yeah, 100%. So, yeah, we got him on, and he's great. He put me in a puppet show, and now I'm doing a puppet show with him. Like, it's wonderful. It's cool. It's a cool puppet show.
It's very cool. It's such a great puppet show.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that.
I can't say enough wonderful things about Christmas.
Yeah, they had amazing, just wonderful chemistry. It was so fun to watch them shoot the stuff that I wasn't in, to kind of be around and just see them play together. It was really a pleasure.
Man, that's fantastic. And he does, you're right, he does do a great job in this episode. Mm-hmm. I don't think we stated it enough because we were so focused on some of the other lines and stuff. But yeah, he does a great job as Zach the Vampire. And I'm so glad that you were able to get him to do it, because it's a match made in heaven, or I suppose in the episode it's a mismatch made in heaven,
right?
Or the mirror universe, or wherever. you know how the saying goes, taking names 100%. And all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Magic mirror taking names.
Magic mirror taking names.
So before we let you guys go, is there anything pressing that you guys would like to plug? Janet, I know you have Fortune Rookie right now. Available on IFC, and
an amazing show that everyone should be watching.
That Deborah Baker Jr. is also
and Deb,
in.
the puppet show that you were talking about.
Blark and Son, Stupid Buddy Productions, and it's coming out again. It was on a couple of different platforms, but I'm not allowed to say who, but a very big platform has bought us, so we're coming.
It's such a funny show.
It's so much fun.
The puppets are amazing. The sets are phenomenal. The voices of the puppets are fantastic. It is a laugh out loud show.
Yeah, it's me, Christmas Bloss, Jim Rash, Patton Oswalt.
So
it's
good.
Like and a bunch of other people, but I'm on drugs, so I can't remember.
Fair enough. And that's going to be your Emmy speech as well.
There we go.
I want to thank a lot of other people, but I'm on drugs.
Boy.
So thank you very much.
These kidney stones are ruining my life.
That's right. That's right. Bless. Now we've memorialized
that
it.
was the plug I needed, right?
Yeah.
Different kind of plug, I guess.
Hachi Machi.
Hachi Machi, what a great time. Thank you so much for having us both on and letting us enjoy a walk down memory lane and taking names and stuff.
Of course. And for those of you listening, we will be back to our regular scheduled programming right after this. And welcome back to Pod Against Evil. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Janet and Deborah. We are so glad we got to have them on the show. It was fantastic. We hope to have them on back again for season 4, Shovels Up. But in the meantime, we're going to talk back here with our buddy Les and just finish off this episode. We left off at the prom party just getting started with a very inebriated Evie.
She's a little blood drunk.
Blood drunk Evie.
Yes, blood drunk. Yes.
which I mean we've talked about with Janet and Deborah, but Les, what is your take on the blood drunk Evie? Fantastic or amazing?
I love that immediately. Oh, yes, exactly. Like, so, on a scale of 1 to 10, is that a 13 or a 14? Yeah, as soon as they revealed, like, when she walks over to the punch and he's like, hey, take it easy. I know what I'm doing. Like, oh, this is going to be great. Like, and then it leads to, I think this is maybe the only time I've ever said this, maybe outside of, like, Team America, but it's my favorite vomit scene. It's the funniest vomit scene I've ever seen.
I love it because it rings so true for me.
Yep.
Of like,
don't be mad at me.
Yes. I'm okay. Nope. Don't be mad at me.
Like I've heard that. I've heard those exact words.
Oh, I've heard you say those exact words.
Yes, that's exactly what drunk people say.
As soon as she picked the punch cup up, or the blood cup up in the first place, I was like, you're wearing a lot of white. Like, that's just not going to work. And then when she started throwing it, it was all I could think the whole time. It was like watching somebody, drive a car badly in a show or something. I was like, you're going to wreck, you're going to wreck, you're going to wreck. Like, I was sure she was going to spill in that dress. I don't know why I was super hyper concerned about that.
Well, anyway, we get Kevin calls Stan's house and gets drink water to pick up.
Which very much confuses him.
Yeah, and he's like, wait, what are you doing there? Are you dating Stan?
What? No.
Oh, God. No.
I'm just here because he went into the magic mirror.
That he Denise.
Oh, because if you were dating Stan, magic mirror!
What? I love how his everyone's got slash fiction on the brain today. There's a lot of Denise winning a award for slash fiction. Evie's thinking about tail dicks. Stan is trying to figure out.
What would we call that? Would that be stink water?
Stink water. Yuck. Yeah, I am not down with that.
No,
I don't like it. Not to yuck anyone. not to yuck anyone's yum, but yuck.
You're not team stink water.
I mean, only Les Gross beats Theon, and I'm like, eh.
Well, it's better than the Keith and Shiro cosplayers from Voltron, which of course combined make the ship name Sheath, which is just wrong on a lot of levels. Just gross.
Yeah,
but good ship though. Like those two together.
Okay.
I'll send you guys my fan fiction. I'll convince you.
I'm good without
it. You're right. There are no Cants. There are no Lance and Keith. Anyway, after the throw up sequence with Evie, where she yells, "Don't be mad at me. I'm okay. Don't be mad." Denise is announced.
No, I'm not okay.
Denise is announced prom queen. And, of course, she's about to accept her role as prom queen, and I think about to get bit. Like, I think that's what Zach is trying to lead up to, of now you are one of us. And suddenly Kevin comes out of nowhere. But, oh, wait, how did Kevin get... Oh, right.
Crawls through that crowd like his legs don't work. Yeah. Like he is grabbing shoulder to shoulder and pulling himself through people almost.
And let's not forget that Kevin got in there because they tried the rope thing again, like they did earlier.
Yes.
But
we've got to discuss. Yeah, the rope thing is that they do it twice, and the Drinkwater. Like, it's actually a pretty savvy moment for Drinkwater. He realized, hey, you want to hand me the other end?
Yeah. Like, it's actually a pretty, it's more forethought than they put into any of their other plans.
It's true.
And yet they fuck it up even worse the second time.
And then it stands there for a minute in the mirror world like, wait,
damn it. And so I love that Kevin does it and he just holds on to both ends of the rope. And just
charges through.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding. Do you realize that we've gone through this whole episode and that Leon never once got caught by the mirror?
It's sad.
He's the only character with the wherewithal to not get trapped by the mirror.
The mirror tries too.
He really is. He's like the Hannibal of this episode. I mean, he is running this A-team.
It is not a proud day for everybody else here. But yeah, it's me, Kevin. I did graves at the cemetery. I really like that if Denise and Kevin were to get married, I really hope that even at the altar in the vows, it's like, hi, I'm in love with Denise Miller. I'm Kevin. I dig graves at the cemetery. You may now kiss the bride. I love that. His intro to people. he tells Denise that this whole thing is a fantasy. That it's stuff you want to be real, but it's not. Like Guardian Angels or the Hulk. And suddenly he gets bit real quick too. Like everyone gets bit off screen, like so fast.
Yeah, they come out of nowhere.
Somebody jumps in on gets a jump scare from off frame, and I love the black vein out like instantly when they get bit though.
Yeah, there's like this there's this vein thing going on. Like it's super fast, like whatever the transition is. And I love that.
He's also just not into it either. Like, unlike Stan, he's like, ow! It's like stepping on a nail with your neck.
I feel like Stan got real into it, like, real fast.
Oh, yeah, he
and
did.
Kevin is a little bit more, I feel like being a vampire kind of unlocks your id or, like your, your baser impulses, and I think Stan has a lot more of those. I think so. And,
rather, he's just more in tune with them.
Mm-hmm. And... yeah, I like I like that Zach does another great evil laugh. Like the only way to have them escape is if you kill them. And I love that it's like, why are you laughing? You just gave her the secret to getting out of here.
To be fair, it's also the second time he said it.
Right. Also, it's episode 6 of season 3, and I feel like we solve a lot of our dimensional problems in this series via killing each other.
It's a little worrisome.
And I feel like one of these times we're gonna really take that for granted, and it's gonna not work out for somebody.
I am kind of at this point waiting for someone to turn around with a gun and be like, I know how to get us out of here. Bam! Like,
Ooh,
no, that's not how it works this time, and that's just Leon's dead.
Man, that'd be dark, but kind of funny. Like, it really...
No, like, they need an actual mirror universe episode where it's like, I know how to get out of it. And he, like, murders that universe as, like, Leon. Like, no,
There's your series finale.
What?
The credits roll on just the mirror in the empty house. And everybody made the wrong decision.
Guys, I figured out how to get out of here. We just had to recite the ritual backwards, and then we got out of here. Man, that was good that I caught you guys.
It's just Leon in the house with hot dogs like Huel waiting at the end of Breaking Bad.
Man, did you guys, did I miss anything? No? Hey, where's Leon? Forget about it. And then just go back. So
they even know they kill the real Leon. They have to take the mirror universe one back with them. Okay,
we won't write another episode during this episode. Anyway, we finally get Denise the Vampire Slayer now, and it is glorious. She stabs Kevin. She's sorry about stabbing Evie. And at this point, Evie's at that level of drunk and alcohol poisoning, which is just like, fucking do it.
Just don't move
Don't move me.
Just don't move me.
Do it. And I, as a person that has been there, I feel you. I feel Ivy in this moment.
So something occurred to me. If you can get blood drunk as a vampire, like the first time I ever got really sick on whiskey, I couldn't even drink like a normal Coca-Cola out of the can. Because it still tasted like whiskey to me. Like it still tasted like a Jack and Coke I threw up 2 years ago. So all I could think was like, there's only one food for vampires, and it's also they're drunk. So what's she gonna do for the next 2 or 3 weeks when like even smelling blood is like, nah.
Maybe it's only human blood. Maybe it's okay if you like drink animal
you gotta
blood.
switch it up. Maybe it's like, because I could drink gin and tequila still. I just couldn't do whiskey. Maybe, yeah. Like, no, I can't do, is that pig? Ugh.
Well,
not that it matters because she dies.
Yeah, she goes, and I love this moment with Stan, which is like, he's hitting on this girl, like, asking her, like, have you ever ridden on the back of a Harley during a sunset or something? Which is, obviously, she can't, she's a vampire. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they are Twilight vampires, right? So, maybe they can.
Well, Stan doesn't seem to be a Twilight vampire. He's like, hey, you're not going to turn me into sparkly dust. And,
well,
I love this line from Denise, which is like,
Dad, I think I'm going to enjoy killing you most of all.
Which
is worrisome.
I love this line. Such a great line. I think she's saying it like she means it as a compliment. Like, and it's so funny.
Or just like a Wizard of Oz reference.
Well, yeah, because it reminds me like that Wizard of Oz. It's like, well, I think I'm going to miss you most of all. Which, not to get sidetracked too much on Wizard of Oz, but
Again.
What a shitty thing to say. Like Like, don't you think like Tin Man and them are like, hey, we're standing right here. What the fuck?
Yeah, as soon as she left, do you think they looked over at him and like, so what's up with that?
Yeah, hey.
Did you fuck her?
Yeah, like what happened? Like we
were all walking together on the same road for like weeks, man. We never were apart.
We all spent the exact same amount of time with each other, had all the same experiences. What the hell? Yeah.
And they were never friends again. Dorothy went back and like, oh no, I haven't spoken to them in 5 years.
Oh boy. We get the kill, and then of course, Zach gets it as well.
Oh, you can't kill Zach! Obviously you can, I'm just being dramatic.
I like that it's not particularly, you don't have to be very specific on hitting the heart exactly.
Right.
Like,
no, you just have to stab them.
Denise just, it seems to be kind of willingness to stab them.
It's kind of like chest area.
Yeah. I love, we have another great ADR line in this one, too. Like, the vampire's freaking out over it. It's like, hide your children!
I did like that one of like, she's gone crazy. Where do we get our blood from now? So
I do love that they burst into sparkles in a straight Twilight send up.
Yep.
Anyway, we come back to the real world in which everyone is out, and we cut to the happy ending. Except for like Stan is very particular as like this never happened. And of course we show up with Leon. He's like, "Hey guys, so what's his line here?"
My plan worked.
Like, you see him? I guess my plan worked. And he's holding. Now this is insane.
Yeah.
And I know that it has no logical reason, but it's gonna bother me for like ever. Which is he's got this plate of hot dogs,
but they're not.
They're obviously not cooked. There's no.
It seems to be the whole pack in a pyramid.
Yeah, it's in a pyramid. There's no buns. He's eating them raw from this plate like a fucking savage.
Like Vienna sausages for adults.
Yeah, and it's like so white trash. Like it is so I can't. And I'm just like, what is happening?
What
here?
is this?
What is this? What are you, Leon? What are you?
He's a monster.
It's a sensual hobo.
He is one of the witches. He really is.
Like, if he'd shown up and there were hot dogs in a pail or something, and or a bucket, I could at least relate it back to something else. But it's like, was there a deleted scene where the microwave was broken? Or like, was there more Drinkwater adventure we didn't get to see?
I would honestly, I would be fine to discover that Drinkwater is actually the most powerful cosmic entity in the town.
He's just
and
some
just lays
Cthulhu-esque
low.
thing.
Like Q from Star Trek or...
Wow.
The Trickster in Supernatural or something. Like, he's just laid back like, oh man, no, this town is fun.
He's actually immortal, we just don't know it.
Exactly, that's why he's alive still.
Well, we get the end credits after that, and we get one last mirror whispering, bye nerds. And that was Vampire Creek, guys. Man, this season is great. Like,
this might actually be one of my favorite episodes, just...
So it's a struggle for me because I love, vampire lore and mythology. I love the references, but what really puts this episode over the top for me is how Denise focused it is. And you could really just sit Deborah Baker Jr. in front of a camera and just kind of have her freeform talk. And I feel like I would be fascinated for a good hour and a half. Like, it's just... Like, most of my notes here, and trust me, guys, I actually skipped stuff like that we didn't talk about because I was afraid we were going to go over time of some of the crazy shit.
Talk about 2 hours on this 20-minute episode.
Yeah, and it's so I love it. I love the focus we get for Denise. It's her episode, and she runs it. It's fantastic. I would say most vile person for our episode. Man.
Zach.
I mean, I guess Zach just kind of, one for being, biting Evie without her consent, even though he was supposed to be all about consent. That was supposed to be his thing.
Oh, I think it was just Denise.
Mm-hmm. Also, being pretty creepy generally, being a creepy 100-year-old person still going to high school.
Still going to high school. That's the clincher for me.
But also, like, having a name Zach, I think that's like minus 50 points from Gryffindor for me. Like, I
feel like he named himself Zach. Like I could forgive kids that got saddled with that by their parents. That's not their fault. But like, I feel like he's the kind of guy that would change his name to a mononym Zach.
Yeah, and for any Zach listeners out there, we apologize. I feel like we bagged on your name a lot today.
The vampire formerly known as Zach.
It's not that your name is here. Like, we respect you, Zach people out there. It's just that if you turn into a vampire, really consider changing your name.
Yeah.
Yes. No, we met there was another vampire, Bartholomew, and that's a perfectly cromulent vampire.
No, his name is Fart. Come on.
According to an unrelated Google search, Chad the Impaler is available.
Yes, I also Google searched for Chad the Impaler.
Oh, we're awful people. I love this. Okay, so thank you for joining us once again, Les. This was fantastic. Would you like to tell the people where they can find you and some of your other content that you grace your voice upon?
Sure. I'm mostly found over on the TV Dudes, thetvdudes.com, and also on The Good Die Young, which is thegooddieyoungtv.com.
Fantastic. You can catch him, skulking around there like the Nosferatu, or the vampire that he is over there. I make an appearance on the Good Die Young as well. I love that show. I'm looking forward to season 2, and not just because I'm working on it as well. Of course, if you'd like to help out this podcast in particular, you can always subscribe to us on iTunes, or Stitcher, or YouTube, or basically wherever you listen to your podcast. It helps us out. If you subscribe to us or give us one of those reviews, 5-star reviews are very helpful on iTunes, helps us beat that algorithm, helps us, helps the show, and, hopefully...
Just helps. It's just helpful.
It just helps, man. Like, every little bit can help. Like, we need... after this episode, I know I need a season 4.
Yeah.
We need answers upon, like, werewolf, shapeshifter tail penises. And
Denise's first favorite hobby.
Oh, Nick, you dirty dog.
Dirty dog. And if you'd like to talk to this particular dirty dog, you can hit me up on my Twitter at Nick Tice on Twitter, or the podcast Twitter, Pod Against Evil, at Pod Against Evil. Our Facebook page, Twitter account, same thing. Check out some of our pics. I've been posting some great fan art from our friend Wallace McBride, which you guys really need to check out. He has some great stuff available at his Twitter handle, Sexy Barnabas Collins, as well. He's been helping us out as well. I'm getting some shirts made.
Wait, his Twitter handle is Sexy Barnabas Collins?
It might be something different now. It's actually his @Twitter handle is Cousin Barnabas, but for Halloween it was Sexy Barnabas Collins. It was Sexy Barnabas Collins costume, which I told him immediately. I'm like, that sexy is redundant, right? You can just say
he's going to be the man. Yeah, that'll be the man to ask on any Dark Shadows references we missed. Then
Wallace, hit us up, man. I looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to even, like, we're in the home stretch now, only 2 episodes left.
It's true.
So, thank you so much for listening, guys, and until next time, may the owls abide. See you later, Sandfans.